struggling with right now.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
So I think I've been learning basically stuff about this program every single day. And one of my biggest kind of ahas that has kind of been flirting with me for a week or so, but it really smacked me yesterday, which is I'm not giving y'all, there's just too much stuff to do, and so we're doing the wrong stuff. And no, I'm not, this isn't pointed at anyone in particular, but I looked at the reporting numbers, and my biggest epiphany is that we're just flat out not talking to enough people. Right. And these are again, I'm not being critical of anyone, but if you want to have massive success or even a little bit of success in this type of environment, we're gonna need to push the gas a little harder on the lead gen. Okay. And I've realized that a good bit of that is on me. And so I am working on a schedule now that is a little less overwhelming, and that allows you the time to focus on what's really going to create success for you, which is time to generate leads. I reread chapter 4 or tactic 4 in Shift yesterday. Has anyone finished chapter or tactic 4?
No, that's part of what I'm struggling with.
Okay. That is probably, like, I feel weird sometimes when I read it and then I highlight almost every word. Doesn't that feel strange?
Yeah.
I heard, so did you guys listen to the interview with Dick Dillingham and Andy yesterday by chance?
No.
So Andy said that he saw in research that when you're reading a book and whatever you highlight is what you find to be true, what you agree with, right? And of course we all know that once you highlight something, there's some stuff that happens in your brain where it stays there for a little longer, right? I just thought tactic 4 is just so relevant to what we're doing right now and relevant to a schedule. So I don't know if you guys have noticed, but Wednesday at 1 o'clock, I have my coaching call, and I always leave that call like half like duh and half like fired up as can be. And so if you ever schedule a meeting with me on Wednesday, you're going to get a fired up version. Okay. Just be aware of that. Okay. Now, one of the things that I want to talk about is this routine. Okay. I'm going to share the screen with you for just a moment. And I'm going to pull up these 2 documents, and then I want to share this with everybody, and I want to get your feedback on this, okay? Okay, can you see my screen?
No.
There's nothing on it.
Yep, I'm waiting for it to pull up.
Okay.
Okay,
That was a trick question.
See the schedule?
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of got, it's a little, it's a little erratic, okay? Oops, sorry. You have carpool, doctor's office. Here you got lead gen at 10, here at 10:30, here at 12:30, here at 12:30 again, and again at 3:30, and then here it's back to 10:30. You're taking the kids to the beach, you're going on an appointment, you might have a listing appointment down here, you're working at night, right? You got a Pilates thing here, a random closing there, yoga in the middle of the day, office meeting, ALC meeting. This is what I would call, if you guys you're familiar with either the 6 personal perspectives of Keller Williams, or this is taught in Quantum Leap, and it's also referred to in the One Thing, which is this idea of E to P. Does anyone want to share with me what E to P means?
It's like entrepreneurial to purposeful, I think.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So what does that mean to you?
When you're an entrepreneur, you're kind of like flying by the edge of your seat. And when you're when you're purposeful, you are more intentional about the life that you're building and the schedule that you're building.
That's a perfect way to describe it. Good job.
Maybe even bold too, but I could take the 6%.
Yeah, that's a perfect way to describe it. And so is this more of a schedule of an entrepreneurial agent or a purposeful agent?
I think it's entrepreneurial.
I agree.
Yeah.
Totally
I
all
agree.
over the place.
Because everything is kind of happenstance. Do you, in business, you get an opportunity to be reactive or proactive. Do you think this is a reactive agent schedule or a proactive agent schedule?
It's reactive.
Yeah.
Very much so. And if by chance, let's just make a quick assumption on this. What if this particular agent got a call and the client wanted to meet with them at 12:30 on Tuesday when they have lunch with Bob? What do you think that agent would do?
Cancel Bob.
That's exactly right. That's exactly right. So let's just assume for a second Bob's the husband. Does Bob deserve to have his appointment canceled?
No.
Because I don't see Bob in this schedule any other time.
Can I tell you that I completely butchered our Valentine's Day plans because I was like drowning in work, and I said, "Oh, can't you just reschedule it?" And then we fought for like 4 days. It's important to him. It's more important to him than it was to me.
Yeah.
He was ready to take me and just throw me in the trash. He was so pissed.
Well, he probably has been looking forward to that moment for a long time.
He's like, I went out, I preemptively made plans, bought you a gift. You're like hanging on by the edge of your seat. You need to prioritize better. And I felt really small.
That's because your schedule looks like this.
Yeah.
Or maybe it looked like this, and it's
No,
getting better, I can tell. But when your schedule looks like this, everything is erratic. So obviously I do a lot of calls and have done a lot of calls of agents in the past, right? And I would say, hey, are you available on Tuesday at 3 o'clock, or are you available Thursday at 11 o'clock? And they'd be like, well, I don't know. I'm going to be, I might be working with a buyer at that time. And I wanted to just reach through the telephone and be like, just look at your schedule.
Figure it out.
Just look at your schedule and put it on the schedule, and then build the rest of your life around that event. Because you just told me you're way off track and you have no plan. So don't you think a meeting with me would be helpful? Because 10 seconds ago you said it would be. So can we put it on the calendar?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
All right. Now I'm going to show you this other calendar here. Oops. Hang on. What about this one?
Yeah.
It's beautiful.
Okay. So 8 o'clock, we got a team. This is not perfect for you guys. I'm going to help you build a calendar that's perfect for you guys. Okay. This is like 8 o'clock team stand up. We are a team, right? So we have a stand up every day. That's what this meeting is, right? We take a moment to celebrate the things that people are doing well, congratulate them. We take a moment to address any type of fires that need to be dealt with. Then we get ourselves a learning nugget. We get kind of psyched up. We listen to a motivational piece. We read a quote, whatever it is, right? Then we have some role play, right? What I've realized is I can say, okay, well, the scripts are in the folder. Go find them, then go read them. But there's not a lot of accountability around that. So we're going to bring a little bit more accountability into that phase of this business, okay? And then we're going to have some lead generation time. So if anyone wants your attention at 10 o'clock, they're going to have to wait. They're going to have to wait. And quite honestly, I don't really care if your lead gen's at 9, although I really would like it to be at 9. But you've got to have some uninterrupted lead generation time. Okay. If you read page... Okay, I'm going to read a little bit of page 72 to you guys, okay? You must decide how much you want to succeed and how much you're willing to do to make that happen. That may force you to acknowledge and work through your personal behavioral style or challenge. Make no mistake about it. If a shift requires you to do all you can do with every lead generation method, requires you to do all that you can with every lead generation method available. When there are fewer leads, you must give it more effort. Don't get stuck in old ruts. Anything less than your best effort just won't cut it. You're going to need a lot of leads, and that means you're going to have to do a lot of lead generating. To do this, and I'm hopping around a little bit, to do this, you must subscribe to one simple belief. Dealing with business never takes precedence over finding business. Never. You must adopt the position that until your lead generation is done every day, nothing else should be done. Okay? If you don't follow this, you have not yet learned the true meaning of prioritizing.
No, she went back up because he started harassing her. So she wanted to go into your room.
Okay? Okay. It is the one true challenge all real estate agents face and the #1 stumbling block that knocks most out of the game. Time blocking is setting aside daily blocks of time to execute your most important business priorities. Think of it as making appointments with yourself. Once done, you must protect that time against any and all distractions. Okay? This is a quote from Chris Heller, who's a former CEO of KW. My job is to follow my schedule. If I do that, everything works. If I don't, I should be fired. That's what happens out in the world. Has anyone had a job where you have a supervisor or a boss before?
Yeah.
Okay, Heather, I'll pick on you. Did you have a clear list of expectations on what you should be doing all throughout the day?
Yes.
And what happens if you just blew that off?
All shit hit the fan.
And how long would you keep your job if that happened day after day after day?
Oh, I probably wouldn't have.
Has anyone ever had a different experience? Has anyone ever had a different experience?
No.
Same thing.
Nope.
I think it's universal.
I agree. Okay. When we did the original research for the Millionaire Real Estate Agent, we made an interesting discovery. The one thing that all top producers have in common, I'm on page 74, is that they constantly and consistently lead generate. Okay. Now, you may be saying to yourself, wait a second, I got into this business to have a great life and to be able to spend time with my family and be able to do something in the middle of the day and these kind of things. Well, good news. I didn't actually realize this when I put this shirt on today, but look at my shirt.
Yeah.
Right? We're not a company that actually tells you to go and generate leads day after day after day. We're a company that follows this schedule, this time blocking schedule on page 75, okay? Which is successful people annually block 3 things. First, they make a list of all the vacations and the time off they want to take for the year, and they block that time off on their calendar. Isn't that kind of cool?
Can you mute everyone, please?
Yeah.
There's a lot of background noise.
That's what I was just about to say as well.
Hang on. Hang on. I don't see. This is the thing. I don't know how to mute everyone while I'm sharing the screen. So I need to do more practice.
I can't hear anything.
You can go to
They can mute
participants.
themselves.
Oh, okay. Gotcha. Okay. Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay. So, first off, we're going to block our vacations. This way, they'll guaranteed that they'll happen, and their family and friends that personal time. This way, they have guaranteed themselves, their family and their friends that personal time off comes first. I would suspect that everyone is feeling a little bit of exhaustion right now. And that's most likely because your schedule is a little erratic. And it's a good bit more erratic than it's been previously, right? Because we're all at home. Okay.
Well, and not
Now,
just the erratic part of it, it's the um, sameness as far as not getting out and seeing people and things that I think many of us like about this business.
exactly.
Thank you, Pam. That's exactly right. Yep.
I know doing things over Zoom is not the same, clearly. But one of the things that you could do is just call a friend and be like, hey, instead of talking on the phone, let's Zoom. I want to see you. I want to feel like we're having a cup of coffee. Just sit there and have a cup of coffee with them. I mean, we got to get creative because we're on shutdown right now, or lockdown. Now they're simply working in between their time off instead of working all the time. And as a result, taking too little time off or too late. Okay. Third, they block off time each week to plan their week. So I should be able to look at your calendar and know very, very clearly that you are an organized business entrepreneur who sells real estate, right? And the way that's going to happen is by seeing exactly when you prepare, when you work, right? Notice this has lunch in it. Has everyone been taking lunch and eating it with your family, or like eating it without a Zoom going on in the background? Like, let's take a moment, right? I haven't had lunch in my schedule in like 4 years, but I'm about to start. Okay. You have an afternoon appointment or several afternoon appointments, right? Now, I know I have subscribed to this idea and coached many of you to say, okay, take about half of the time that you're going to allot to real estate and work in your database, which means lead generating. And the other half, I want you to spend learning. And I'm going to make a little adjustment to that. I want you to spend 3/4 of your time generating leads and being in your database, and 1/4 of your time learning. Okay. We've got to amp up. I'm seeing some great and impressive numbers on the learning, and I'm proud of you guys, but I'm a little concerned about the numbers on the lead generating side. Okay. And remember the purpose of, and we're going to talk a little bit about this in chapter 5. The purpose of generating leads is to get appointments, right? So I've spoken to a couple of you guys, and looking at the numbers, it looks like you're having very long conversations with the people you're speaking to. You don't need to have those long conversations right now. If you want to have a long conversation, do it after hours. But during the work day, we should be a little swifter. We should probably be making somewhere between at least 10 contacts an hour, at least, depending on who we're talking to.
Something from 7 Levels of Communication. If you guys haven't read that book, you should. He says, he who asks the questions controls the conversation.
What does that mean to you, Heather?
Well, you obviously have to ask an open-ended question, and then an open-ended question will give you an open-ended answer that may not have a time limit. So you've got to, find the right way to get in there and ask the next question. This way you can control the question, and they don't. I have a client who's got a PhD in like science, and she would go off to like I'd be like, how's your day? Are you ready to have our 1 o'clock appointment? And she'd be like, yeah, and did you see the chemtrails? And then from chemtrails, we went on something, and it was like insane. I would have to time block like 2 hours for her. So
or you talk to her after hours, or you just learn to cut her short.
Well, what I would do then, what I learned is when I got on the phone with her, I'd be like, good morning, Pat, how are you? Before we get into a conversation, I just need to let you know that 8:30, I have another call. So this is going to have to be short.
Yeah, that's exactly right.
Yeah.
Exactly right. Because I'll tell you, the more successful, if you were to line up people from least successful to most successful, that is probably also we can define success in a lot of different ways. I understand that. But that's probably also a very close measure of how well they control their time. Right?
skill. It's a developed skill. If you don't have it, you're developing it, and you'll learn quick to do that.
So for many of us, we're like on page 1 of that journey. And I cannot stress to you enough how important that is. Because one of the things they say in this book is you need to know, that's with regard to time planning or time blocking and looking at a calendar month at a glance. But basically, when you say yes to something, you're saying no to everything else that could reserve that spot. Right? So if you agree to be on this call, you can't be meeting with an 8:30 buyer and 8:30 seller, right? So the idea is you should only choose to participate in this call when you're getting your needs addressed on this call, right? Because otherwise you could go be drumming up opportunities somewhere else, or meeting with somebody, or having breakfast with your kid, right? So we have to be super critical of how we spend each of our moments, okay? And again, that's not a reference to work, 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 work. That's actually the opposite. It's a reference to work in between the times that you are doing other things other than working. Does that make sense? Okay, any ahas that we've had this morning so far?
I think you nailed it on the head for me. One of the reasons I'm struggling so much is because I am like working, an agent called me today at 8 o'clock, and he's like, did I catch you too early? I know you're an early riser because you usually send out emails at 6 a.m. So I'm working at 6 a.m. and I'm working past 6 p.m. and I'm completely freaking depleted. Like, I have nothing to give to my personal life because my professional life is just draining it all out of me.
So one of two things is probably happening. Either you don't have a calendar that gives you, that directs you where to go at each moment, that is rooted in your mental needs and your financial needs and your physical needs, or you have one and you're not following it.
I think I have one, and I think it's just too jam-packed with crap, quite frankly.
Okay, see how they've got some breaks here?
Yes, and I don't have that. I'm literally like, okay, you wake up and you have these 10 things to do before noon. Like,
right. So that there's a number of things we can go over there. There may be some things and probably likely some things in there that you shouldn't be doing. We'll start with that. And then there needs to be some stuff canceled. Right? Ben Kinney, the #1 agent in the entire company out of Washington, that's the #1 agent out of 185,000 agents, by the way. Okay, you think he knows what he's doing?
Yeah, and I adore him.
Right? Ben's assistant cancels like over 50% of his appointments first thing in the morning on Monday. So he packs all of his appointments, and then he reviews that list, and he cancels half of them anyway, because they're not as important, and he needs time to go out into the woods. If you're following him on Facebook or you're friends with him, go out into the woods and hunt deer or sleep in a tent or whatever else he does, because that's where he gets his ideas to be as such a great leader, right? So this business has a tendency to like grab us like every moment of every day. It's like when you're not in front of a Zoom camera, you're like reading something about real estate or you're whatever. We have to protect ourselves first. That's what I know it's corny. I know we hear it 3 times a day, but when they say in the airplane, put the oxygen mask on you and then help your neighbor.
Mm-hmm.
I think we probably all need like an extra moment today. Just go for an extra walk or like tune it out for a minute, right? But you're only going to have peace when you do that, when you need to do that, when you're following a schedule that allows your priorities to get accomplished. Does that make sense?
Yeah. I haven't used my real schedule in weeks. My real planner, I should say, in weeks.
There are a lot of on page. What page is that? That's like page 75 through like 70. Like 77 or so. They talk about the importance of a month at a glance calendar, right? So you can really understand again, what you're saying yes to, and as a result, what you're saying no to. One of the things that I'm noticing is a lot of our events are not fantastically attended, right? I know this was a little odd. We put something on the calendar before this session at 8 o'clock, which was Ask Me Anything, and I sat here by myself for half an hour, right? So with that said, what I'd like to do is, I want to help model an appropriate schedule for you now. And the appropriate schedule for you now is going to be jam-packed with lead generation, right? Because nothing else is going to get you appointments. And if we're waiting to hear the news today about the what do you call it, the shutdown or whatever. If real estate agents are considered to be essential in New York, you can't even cold call right now, right? So this is going to be a pretty challenging couple weeks, and I want you to understand that the thing that's going to help you come out of this is having some relationships and some people that want to transact business when all this is done. I heard an analogy 2 days ago that this is kind of like a huge traffic jam, right? And imagine you're on this like massive highway and there's like this huge pile up. And when there's a pile up in front of you, you can't do anything. You're just sitting there. You're just kind of waiting. And eventually, this is not a depression, but eventually it'll clear out a little bit, and we'll be able to move. And then once it's clear, hey, it's spring market. Let's go out there and list and sell homes, right? So there's an end to this. But people, as we know, are transacting business every single day, right? I tried to sell my damn townhome for 8 months, and the second we get a lockdown is when I go under contract, right? Crazy. Okay, guys, I'm proud of you. I really, really appreciate you all experimenting with the video. I think you guys did awesome. I'm proud of you for that. Thank you. Today, what I want you to do is I want you to schedule that Zoom call with a friend. And I would like for you to get as many contacts as you can. Have as many contacts with people, with a two-way conversation with somebody. And honestly, if it's appropriate, bring up real estate, but I don't even care whether you bring up real estate or not. I just want you to develop, pour into them, make some deposits, okay? I'm gonna ask that everyone do a minimum of 20 today. As soon as you hit 20, send a message out to everyone and tell them you hit 20. Okay?
Before we go, can I ask a question?
Sure.
So I have a listing going on tomorrow. It's going live, and I'm just curious, like, I'm going to do the video, the virtual tour video today.
Yeah.
In the video, like, do we have to do that, or can we just do like we did yesterday?
I think you could, it's up to you. I mean, there's no rule. If it was me, I would probably, like, if you're not, if you don't want to be like the star of the video, if you will, I'd probably have it on you at the very beginning where you say, hey, it's Heather. You know, I'm really excited to share the information about this new listing. It's a 4-bedroom home in Woodstock. Let's go take a look. And then you switch it onto the home. And at the end, maybe you say, hey, you know, please, I hope that you're staying safe. If there's anything that that I or my group can help you with, please let us know. I'm excited to see you in person as soon as possible. Something like that, and have it back on your face, and then the movie's over. So I wouldn't be out of the film entirely, but I would do a little intro with your face at the very beginning and maybe at the very end.
Okay, thank you. Because it would require like another person if I did like Andy and Leslie's, and you know, I don't.
That's true, because you could tell there was a couple of feet between Andy or Leslie and whoever was videoing that. But again, this is like, don't over. It's not like a movie premiere, right? it can be a little less formal, if you will. Not formal, that's not the right word, but like staged.
I got you.
Right? It's like, hey, I'm here.
I think I have a selfie stick somewhere. I'm gonna try to find that sucker and pull it out. I'm gonna go walk around with it.
Yeah. Absolutely. All right,
If
guys.
you're going to do a lot of videos, you might want to also get what's called a gimbal stabilizer. That way it doesn't show the shake of your hands and, you're walking as much.
What's it called?
A gimbal stabilizer. I'll post it in the WhatsApp.
Yeah, I was just about to ask you to do that, Pam. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
All right, guys, keep up the good work. I'm proud of you. Go make some contacts today, and I cannot wait to see everyone that makes 20 contacts, and I'm going to participate too, okay?
Awesome. Thank you.
All right, bye, guys.
Bye.